Okay, also Akkreditierung ist noch nicht. Die Anreise, Zug, naja, ich hoffe Zug, nicht Flug, das wäre schön. Und diese Hotelspreise und die Airbnbs, die sind ja immer so eine Sache.
Marco,
Alkis,
was machst du
ist?
da?
Ja, ich schaue wegen Anreise Eurovision.
Marco, du wohnst 3 Minuten von der Stadthalle entfernt.
Oh, so Eurovision zu Hause, das bringt mich jetzt voll aus dem Konzept.
Ja, Marco, ich weiß, kommt auch nicht so oft vor. Merci, Chérie, der Eurovision Song Contest Podcast aus Genf und Wien.
Mir gegenüber sitzt Alkis, Vlassakakis.
Mein Vis-à-vis ist Marco Schreuder.
Und das Thema heute, The Voice.
Später reden wir natürlich über die Wahl von Wien als Austragungsstadt des Eurovision Song Contests 2026.
Wirklich? Ach, Wien. Ach ja, ich muss ja gar nicht Zug fahren.
Marco, du musst nicht Zug fahren. Über darfst du fahren, wenn du möchtest.
Jetzt dämmert's wieder, ja. Aber davor reden wir über die Song Contest-Siegerin, die beim Wiener ESC ihr 30-jähriges Jubiläum feiert, sozusagen.
Ja, und das 30-jährige Jubiläum feiert auch die OGAE Austria, der österreichische Song Contest Fanclub. Am 4.10. findet daher die Party Eurovision Live diesmal in der Wiener Stadthalle
statt. Die Wiener Stadthalle ist ein Dauerläufer jetzt bei Eurovision.
Die Wiener Stadthalle, ja. Die hat's gerade mit Eurovision.
Ja. Mit dabei Adonis, Jacqueline vom Melodiefestivalen 2024, Victor Crone, Panda, Justs, Chiara und unser Gast heute. Hier ist unser Interview mit Eimear. Quinn is with us. Welcome to our show, Eimear.
Thank you. So nice to be talking to you both.
I was so surprised when you said you're in Geneva, not in Ireland. What are you doing in Geneva?
So currently our family is in both places because I mostly work in Ireland and I base myself in Ireland for my work, and my husband works in Geneva.
Okay.
So we tend to be in both places depending on what's going on. So
This is lovely. We all know you are the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest 1996, and we will talk about that a little bit later. You appear again and again at the Eurovision parties. For example, on October 4th, here in Vienna, at the party Eurovision Live of the OGAE Austria at the Wiener Stadthalle. What does Eurovision and the community mean to you today, almost 30 years later?
Yeah, well, it is. It's almost 30 years, you're right. And also there's 30 years of association with Eurovision for Austria. And so, I mean, I actually don't come to the Eurovision parties that often. It's very special for me to be going. I love Vienna, so that's the main reason.
It's a good reason.
Yeah. So I love to go and to hear the Philharmonic when I can. I've been there at the Musikverein on New Year's Day before, and I've been to the Palace for the Midsummer concert. So absolutely. I was there midsummer actually last year, which coincided with the Pride Parade, which was just incredible. Oh my God, you guys, what you do for Pride is just unbelievable. It made me feel so happy to be human and alive and to be able to just kind of share in this comfort of being human and alive. It was so lovely. I loved it. So you do it right in Vienna. Thank you. So I'm really looking forward to visiting again.
I was just studying the opera program, so maybe we go to the opera the night before or something.
Go to the opera together. Yeah.
So, but of course, we want to do a time travel with you back in time, because I think your story is a very interesting story. Let's go to the start of Eimear Quinn, the singer. You started in choirs already as a child, right?
I did, yeah. I mean, I'm one of those kids who was just always singing, a kid who always has a football or a kid who always has a book or, for me, I was just, from the time I could make noise, I'd, produce sound, I realized I could sing. And So speaking of opera, like I used to go around the house pretending I was an opera singer. Now I never became an opera singer, but it was just that thing of experimenting with my voice. I think I realized very early on that it was something that brought me huge pleasure, but also something that was very distinct to me when I was in, really small, and I joined the choir, in the church, because in Ireland in the 70s, when I was really tiny, everybody went to mass every day or every Sunday, and my sister, who was older than me, was in the church choir, and so I was able to join when I was like 4 or 5, and so ever since then I was just always singing at school, singing in choirs, and then began to have my voice trained in my teens. So I was studying, classical voice, and I became a professional chorister through university. Also in 2 choirs. I was a cathedral chorister in Christchurch Cathedral in Dublin, and I was with a professional choir called Anuna. So, but the whole time with my studies, when I was studying for my degree in musicology, I mean, my ambition was to be an early music soprano, soloist, and to be a professional chorister. They were my 2 ambitions, in the 90s. Yeah.
You already mentioned Anuna, the choir. We know that one as a cooperation with Riverdance. How did that came about?
Yeah, that's right. So I wasn't involved in Riverdance at the beginning, because that was in people might remember Riverdance being the interval act. Sometimes people don't realize its origin. So it was the interval act in Eurovision in 1994.
You joined later, I think, right?
Yeah, because in 1994 I was studying for my music degree, and I saw this like everyone else on the TV, right? And Anuna, because of their association with the show, the act became a spin-off show. It was really successful, and Anuna began to get many more concerts and engagements, and so they had a core. All of their singers were involved with the show, so they had to augment their troupe and their size so they could both do the show and their own repertoire in their own concerts. So I joined Anuna as one of the new choir members who needed to augment their numbers. So a lot of the older members stayed, the previous members stayed on Riverdance show, and the new members learned all the repertoire, and so I became one of their principal soloists. In 1995, exactly. And so when I was singing with them at Christmas in 1995, we were doing a concert in St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin, and
that's my next question. Because there was a composer sitting in the audience, right?
That's right. His name is Brendan Graham, and he was already well known in Ireland. Incredibly well known for having composed the song that won a few years earlier in Eurovision called Rock and Roll Kids for Paul Harrington and Charlie McGettigan. And he'd also written the lyrics to the most recorded song in recording history, which is You Raise Me Up. So he's our best known songwriter he's one of the world's most recorded songwriters. So he had written this song, and he had a group who had recorded it. He had submitted it to the Irish, selection jury for the National Song Contest, and it had made it into the list of selected songs that needed to be performed for a national song competition in February 96. So he was at this concert in December. And the people who had recorded the demo for him that he had submitted, they were going to be on tour around Australia, and they weren't going to be able to sing this song. And so he was actually on the lookout for a singer for his song, right? And so this is I always say to my girls, I have 2 teenage daughters, and I say, you just have to send your dreams really out into the universe. Really wear your heart on your sleeve with your dreams. Just so I'm singing here like sending my dreams into the universe of just wanting to sing my whole life. This is what I want to do. I want to make it my life, you know. And I was singing a song that he wrote that the choir performed called Winter, Fire and Snow. He wrote the music for it, and it was a poem by MacDara Woods. And he was there, and afterwards he came up and he introduced himself to me, and he said, I have a project for the new year. Maybe you can talk to me after Christmas. It was a few days before Christmas. And the project was that he wondered if I would sing his song in the National Song Contest. So, I mean, that was just extraordinary to me because I was obviously very focused on classical music and spiritual music and early music. And I loved Eurovision, like any person watching Eurovision at home, but I had no specific interest in it. And I didn't feel that my style of music or my musical background would ever place me in Eurovision. I mean, a bit like JJ, right? This year for you guys, his background is in classical music also. And so next thing was I found myself having this discussion with him, and I said, gosh, I really don't know if I can do this for you. I don't know if I have the right, skills. I'm not a showbiz person. I don't know if I can stand on a stage in front of thousands of people and sing this music that's so different. And he said, no, I think you can do it. I think you can do it. So he worked really closely with me and encouraged me. And he worked on, because I had very correct pronunciation, he worked on me getting more, because I did sing folk music, right? I sang a lot of folk music. And he said, just approach it as though it's folk music. So essentially that's what I did. I was really lucky that it was this great set of lyrics and a brilliant song. And so it just kind of ended up nearly singing itself. That's kind of how I sing, really. I feel with music that I channel the music and it comes through me. And if the song is resonating with what I want to say and how I want to say it, then it channels through me and it sings itself. So that's what happened on the night in Oslo.
So did the song catch you immediately?
Yeah,
the voice.
Yeah. I love how.
I mean, the lyrics is really wonderful.
And you see, the thing is that it's hard to understand now because we kind of take the peace that we have in Ireland on our island for granted now, because it feels like, all of that division and violence and war and killing it feels like it's so distant, but it's not. It's very, very recent. And so the lyrics are about a heritage, and it's this voice of a kind of an ancient place, speaking to us and telling us that, I'm the voice of your past and I'm the voice of your history. But if you bring me peace, my wounds will heal. And so for me, it was extraordinary because it had, you wouldn't say it was a political message. It's a cultural and heritage message that the song had. So now for me, when I sing it, I still feel, because we didn't get peace until after that, so I still feel that it's an absolute miracle for me. When I sang it first, I was singing, it was a prayer for peace, and ever since I've sung it every single time, at first it felt like this extraordinary miracle and now it just feels joyful. It just feels like, wow, we've gotten past that, and we don't have to pass on generational hatred and division to our kids. We can move forward, and it's a miracle to me. So the song is so important in that way, that it pivoted the pre-peace and post-peace with those very beautiful lyrics.
Was it a difficult step for you to be the singer in a choir, which is in your back, than being alone on stage singing your song yourself, to be a solo artist?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously when somebody's studying voice, it's ultimately what they want, right? So you have to be careful what you wish for. And eventually when that happens, you have to, I had to grow up really quickly and become really responsible for what I was doing, right? Become a professional, and suddenly I was being asked to carry this burden of this song for this country. And so, I had to really stand there and try and be brave. And it took a lot out of me. I was really scared. I mean, when I look back now on the performance of that night in Oslo, I can see how petrified I am. I can hear how petrified I am, trying hard to catch my breath. I look like a very scared young person who's quite overwhelmed, and that's exactly what I was.
Yeah.
Was the rest of the night in Oslo then, were you generally scared, or was it just this moment on stage? How was the experience in Oslo?
Just the moment on stage, really. I mean, the experience in Oslo was a lot of fun because I had this great band with me of Irish musicians, fiddle player, bouzouki player, baron player, whistle player, trad musicians. And so everywhere we went, we just played music and sang. And so we would we'd come back from rehearsals, we'd sit in the reception in the hotel and we'd play music and sing. And so we had this very lighthearted kind of party vibe going the whole week long. And we would bring in all of the other contestants who would kind of join in. And so we were the life and soul of the party, truly, in Oslo. So that was tremendously helpful. And I mean, it didn't get real until the night. And then we kind of all realized, oh, okay, yeah, we'd go and do this thing now. But what was interesting was over the course of the week, I don't know, it's a long time ago, so only your older listeners would remember the build up to it. But there was a song that was really popular, it was high up in the British charts, and it was popular kind of pop hit around Europe, which was one of the entries, which was for the UK. And it was a singer called Gina G. And,
yes. Just a little bit.
That's it.
A little bit love.
Yeah, a total worm, and a real mid-90s bop, right?
Yes.
And it was great for that. But I think because it was doing well in the charts at the time, people kind of thought, oh, that's going to run away with it, And so we kind of didn't think too much about it. And then next thing was everybody's telling us that our song was favorite with the bookies. And then Norwegian newspapers started reaching out to me and saying, we want you to do it inside on the ground reporter because everyone's saying your song is favored to win. And so we were astonished by this. We really didn't realize it. So we then kind of thought, okay, this is serious. So we went out to do it on Saturday night because there was an expectation that we would do well. So. Right beforehand, I was really nervous. And I have to say, I mean, a lot of people talk these days about being, disembodied and all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, the only time I can utterly relate to that for sure is that night, because I remember somebody saying to me afterwards, only recently on a podcast interview that I did a couple of years ago, somebody said to me, oh, it must have been so cool for you to sing with Morten Harket, that night in the green room. And I was, I didn't sing with Morten Harket in the green room. And they said, no, you did. You sang Norwegian Wood with him in the green room when you were waiting on the results. And I said, I didn't do that. And he said, you have to look it up on YouTube. You did that. And I said, are you for real? He said, you look it up on YouTube and you get back to it. I looked it up on YouTube. And I wouldn't mind, right? Because this is the mid-90s. I mean, I'm a 23-year-old girl and obviously I adore Aha, right? And so...
We all did in that year.
Morten Harket, right? So I just looked at myself singing with Morten Harket on YouTube and I have this total vacant look in my eyes. It's like I really am not in my body. It's extraordinary. It was extraordinary. So it was completely surreal. And then I do have, after that, when I won, I have memories after that, when everything went crazy. I do remember a lot about the night. I remember coming down the stairs in the hotel, the Radisson Hotel, and just having this like sea of paparazzi flashes. This is the craziest thing I have ever experienced. It was wild. It was so much fun.
But if someone asks you, what's the first memory that comes in your mind if you think on that night?
if I think on that night, I have a very personal memory that I'm not going to share. But my second memory, my second memory is, I think, that standing on that staircase and seeing that sea of flashing cameras, thinking and having I suppose the presence of mind at the time to see that, oh my God, this is how some people live, and I know that this is going to be short-lived for me, because this type of intense fame is not something that, endures with Eurovision, right? But because everybody, Europe's media are all there and they all want to talk to you. And that they're never going to all want to talk to me ever again, any day of any year in the rest of my life. So I thought, okay, this is how some people live, like some intensely famous people who are constantly in demand. I thought, oh my God, that would be a crazy way to live your life.
And here we are 30 years later talking about that night.
Just three of us.
You were the winner, and then you had mainly sung in choirs. How did you then go on? How did you plan the next steps in your career?
That was nearly the harder part of it in some ways, because, as I say, it wasn't really the type of world that I belonged to. And it wasn't really, it wasn't that I didn't want to belong to the world or like that world. It was just, it was new to me, And so I had a sense of, it wasn't that I'd written the song either. So I didn't have all of these, I wasn't a songwriter at the time. And so I didn't have all of this material to suddenly record, to say, this is who I am. I had a real aversion to the kind of, boy band, girl band, manufactured pop thing that was going on at the time in the mid to late 90s. And so I thought, I don't want to just be a front for someone else's idea of music. If I'm going to record music, then it has to be authentically what I want to say. So I did a kind of strange thing at the time, which was I didn't take the record deals that were offered to me, and I decided I would form my own label and produce my own album, or EP it was. And not so much even at that point to really have a musical expression, but just actually I felt it was the only way I could learn about the music industry, was to really immerse myself in it. I do it with language, I do it with music. If I immerse myself in something, I can learn it. And so I threw myself into learning about the record industry and the music industry. I released my first recordings independently. And then I began to understand what it was about and what I wanted to say. And I signed then with Decca International, Universal after that.
And you returned to sing the spiritual music, again, some Irish influenced music. Yeah. And that's what you focused on, right? Again.
I mean, that's where my heart is, between music that is, ancient and of a place, of Ireland and of our heritage, contemporary, but with this similar intention, which is to communicate something deeper and something from the spirit, and to try and connect with other people that way and feel. I mean, all music connects us, doesn't it? That's what's great about it. Mm-hmm. But to feel connected on a personal level to where I'm at, how I can connect with people. And so that's what I try to do through my music. I feel that music is tremendously healing. I feel when I sing, I find it personally healing for myself, and the feedback I get from sharing with audiences is that sharing that music is healing for them too. So I feel that, like I said, I feel like a channel for something greater when I make music, and so that's my pleasure and my passion.
When we had 33 degrees here in Vienna in August, I was preparing myself for this interview and was listening to the album Songs of Winter Dreaming while sweating in the sun.
Well, I also recorded it in August, so
okay.
Perfect timing.
I can relate.
But it's a recommendation I just want to give our listeners. It's the most recent album you released last year. And it's the perfect soundtrack for a Christmas night, no?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I mean,
with Mary's Lemons. I love Mary's Lemons.
Mary's Lemons. Oh, do you know something interesting about that? That's written by Brendan Grain, who wrote the song from. Yeah, so you have a connection with Brendan's music, you see, again. And also, which is really interesting, is written with Rolf Loveland of Secret Garden. So that's two Eurovision composers have written that music. So, and that's my own arrangement of it. So I love to arrange, to compose, to write string arrangements or orchestral arrangements. So, so when the music is not something I've composed myself now, it's I write the arrangements and produce it. So it's a lot of fun. It's really immersive. And Brendan and I continue to write lots of music together. We've got lots of songs together now, which is really great. We have a wonderful
When will they hear them? What are your next plans? Your next steps?
So my next recordings will be out next year because Brendan and I will celebrate 30 years since the win.
A new version of The Voice.
Well, there are a few versions of The Voice out there, but there is a new version of The Voice coming. So there's the original version. And then there's an orchestral version, which I recorded with the Orti Orchestra on my album Eru, which came out for the pandemic in 2020. Then I released an a cappella version of it, which is just me, just voice. That's it.
That's beautiful.
You can also hear that. That's all everywhere you hear music. And then there's a very special but surprising version coming out later this year. So you have to wait for that. It's very different. And so if you, so you can keep an eye on my socials or whatever, you'll hear about that. It's I think people are going to be really interested to hear this new version.
As always, there will be a link in the show notes to the previous versions and a link to the socials as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and so Brendan and I are going to release some more material to celebrate the 30 years. And we'll have all of the versions of The Voice will have to be in the mix, yeah.
Your victory was the 7th for Ireland, but also the last. What do you think could be the reason?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I think for a lot of people, Eurovision became something that in Ireland and in the UK, I think people lost their way a little bit with Eurovision in terms of taking it as the opportunity that it was for reaching people with your songwriting, reaching people as an artist. And I think what happened was that suddenly, particularly as the whole recording industry changed and music television changed and YouTube came and videos changed and everything, the opportunity for artists to reach a giant audience was there in Eurovision and Eurovision alone. We didn't have chart shows the same way as we used to on TV, so there wasn't really these platforms. There weren't any really big platforms for musicians to launch themselves to audiences in the same way. And I think in continental Europe, it was always taken kind of more seriously in terms of credibility, but in Ireland and the UK, it was made people kind of didn't take it that seriously, and they kind of stopped artists going into it who were concerned about their credibility a lot of the time. And so they scared away a lot of very serious artists, both songwriters and performers. And in the meantime, the opposite happened, I think, outside of Ireland and the UK, because Ireland and the UK share a lot of media footprint, because we're both English language, we're both on the periphery of Europe. There's a lot of media footprint and overlap in terms of attitude towards music and all of that. And a lot of the recording companies have their main office in London and a smaller office in Dublin. So there's a lot of cross-pollination with the music industry in both in Ireland and the UK. And so what happened on the continent was that the credibility issue wasn't as much there to start off with, but suddenly the European-based record companies saw this opportunity and the only opportunity, and they began to push really serious artists towards the competition and much more serious songwriters. I mean, the level of songwriting in the last decade is off the charts. I mean, it's really great. The level of performance is fantastic. And Ireland and the UK have just kind of suddenly gone, oh my God, we need to just send better songwriters, better singers. We need to up our game, and they haven't really caught up yet. Remember, with the exception maybe of Spaceman.
Sam Ryder.
Bambi Thug was an exception, and Sam Ryder was an exception.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, they're exceptions, right? Other than that, there's not been any standouts. You need to send a really great song. I mean, for example, this year, I feel that the standard of songwriting has been getting better and better and better. But this year, I felt in Basel that there weren't as many strong songs for whatever reason this year.
True that.
I didn't feel like there, because the last few years, like say for example in Turin when Sam Ryder was there were just so many brilliant songs that year. I mean, one of my favorite Eurovision songs that year was Italy, Brividi. It was just so beautiful. I mean, it didn't even win, didn't even come second, I don't think. No, because Sam Ryder came second.
Seventh.
Right?
Yeah,
So-
but it was the
Seventh or
Spotify winner.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And this year, I didn't think we had as many really strong songs. I think JJ just flew away with it. He was just absolutely head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, and then there were a lot that were kind of on this level, but JJ was like just so much better than everyone else, But I think it's really interesting to see how, UK and Ireland really need to up their game.
Yeah, I just have to correct myself. Brividi was the second Spotify winner. The first one was even on 21st place. Snap, right?
Snap,
yeah, Rosalind. Yeah.
Yeah. And what a great song. Yeah, but one of my favorite songs ever also in Eurovision is a very...
We come to that question later.
Don't
Don't spoil.
Another great song from Turin was Amanda, what is her name? Tegfeld, something like that. She's Norwegian, but she sang for Greece.
Yes,
Together.
yes.
Love that song.
Yeah.
Love that song. That was, so Turin had so many great songs. Oh my God, it was... So listen, it comes down to it that the caliber of the artist is off the charts. The quality of the songwriting is off the charts. We just need to send a better song and a better artist. That's it.
But I agree, 2021 and 22 were the best years for a long time, and we didn't get this level again anymore. But all right, maybe, what do you think, Alkis? What could be a way for Ireland?
A musical soprano, maybe? Could you
Written
imagine?
by Brandon Graham?
Could you
Would you do it
imagine
a second
yourself?
time?
Well, why not?
You know what? You told me that you forgot so many things of that night. And we had a lot of guests in our show who were twice at Eurovision. And what they always tell us is that they forget everything the first time and that they were only possible to enjoy Eurovision when they appeared the second time.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. I don't think I will ever sing in Eurovision again. I might write a song for it sometime, but I don't think I'd ever sing in it again. I would sing on the show for sure, but I don't think I'd ever compete again. Well, you can't do any better than win, right?
But maybe you have to go to a Christmas concert of a choir and you hear a voice and you think, wow, I write a song for this singer.
Yeah, okay. That's an idea.
History repeating.
Christmas concerts are quite popular here in Vienna, just saying.
Okay, well,
I think she knows.
I sing at a lot of Christmas concerts. I have lots coming up in Ireland this year, but maybe sometime I'll go to listen to the ones in Vienna.
Christmas in Vienna, very popular, yeah. So we have, for every guest who joins our show, the last three standard questions, and Alkis will start with the first
famous
one.
questions.
Yes,
Exactly, the famous. I think I know the answer, but I still have to ask you that. Which song from the Eurovision Song Contest 2025 is still on your playlist?
Oh, listen, it has to be JJ, right? Wasted Love. It's, I mean, head and shoulders above everyone else. It was terrific. I loved the Swiss song. That's my second favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
It's so beautiful.
Voyage, yes.
And really delicate and interesting performance. I loved it.
So what did you do in the last minute before your performance in 1996?
Well, as I've already mentioned, at that point I had left my body. So presumably I was levitating, looking at the 9,000 people in the hall. And we were standing back, and I remember I was reminding myself to look at the word. I think it's ALT in green was the Norwegian emergency exit. And I was doing it so I would have something to focus on, but I think now metaphorically I understand where my spirit went, right?
Funny.
And of course, the most important one, which Eurovision entry of all times, all countries, is your favorite?
So it's without a doubt, it's Mahmoud Soldi.
Wow.
It's a very good one.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
So I think I see a pattern. Brividi, Soldi.
Yeah. Anything with Mahmoud, yeah, absolutely.
But that's
probably
Eurovision,
the
right?
Italian songwriting.
Yeah, I love the Italian songs. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But that's the funny thing about Eurovision, right? You find an artist and then you follow everything what he is releasing later. Of course, you can't follow all of the thousands, but I choose some artists, and you do as well. And Mahmoud is also one of my artists I still follow.
He's amazing. Yeah, I really enjoyed performing on the same shows as him if I get a chance. And yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, we need to get you an invitation for Sanremo then.
Yeah,
that would be great. We cannot organize it. We are never. Alkis, I don't have that good connections with the Rai.
The levers of Eurovision power.
But you told me you have to dream, and then suddenly it happens. Exactly.
Well, that's exactly what I've been telling you, right? See, I'm glad you've learned something from this podcast.
What can we expect in your performance in Vienna on October 4th?
Oh, no, there's a couple of surprises coming up there. So I'm not going to reveal everything.
But we do this because we want the people to buy the tickets. So give us a little bit.
So obviously I'm going to sing everybody's favorite Eurovision winner ever, which is the 1996 Irish song called The Voice. That's number one.
Of course.
Then I'm going to sing another connected, very similar based, floaty, ethereal Eurovision song. So maybe
what I thought is I have a theory because a soprano is coming to Vienna. And there was a soprano song winning the last Eurovision, so that was my guess.
You see, then I was about to say then there might be an Austrian connection. There might be an Austrian connection where I get to show off my classical training. So I hope to sing JJ's song also, which would be really amazing. That's what I plan to do.
Wow. Well, maybe it's one of the Austrian songs that won Eurovision, which is named Merci, Chérie.
Okay. I see. Now you have me thinking. It's just them in the list, the options, they're endless, aren't they?
They are.
But it's going to have to be one of those things where you're going to have to come on the night and find out what happens.
Yes. Thank you for your precious time, Eimear. Thank you for joining us. And we have to do it again because this is the way how we say thank you to our guests. We say Merci, chérie.
Avec plaisir, c'était un grand plaisir.
Merci, Chérie plaudert über Wien, über unsere Stadt Alkis.
Über unsere Stadt. Wir freuen uns, Gastgeber des Song Contests zu sein, zumindest in der Stadt, unserer Stadt, in der er stattfindet. Zum dritten Mal nach 1967 und 2015. Das bringt uns und unseren Podcast in eine komplett neue Rolle. Wir denken etwa noch nach, wie wir die alljährliche Vorstellung der Host City machen. Aber
wir stellen uns vor, oder?
Aber jetzt sind wir
15. Ich mache einfach Rudolfsheim 5 Haus.
Genau. Also warum glaubst du, hat Wien den Zuschlag bekommen, Marco?
Ich glaube, es ist ganz einfach. Der ORF hatte in Wahrheit keine andere Möglichkeit. Die Stadt Innsbruck hat 6,5 Millionen geboten und die Stadt Wien 21. Ja. Ich meine, wir diskutieren das in Österreich ja immer so, als ob das eine gleichwertige Kopf-an-Kopf-Angelegenheit wäre. Aber wenn man sich die Zahlen wirklich vertiefend anschaut, dann war es das nicht. Ja, also der ORF ist einfach bereit, Wien ist bereit, da eine Summe beizusteuern, die zwar etwas unter Basel liegt, aber doch in dem Bereich, ich glaube, die Stadthalle muss hoffentlich nicht so in dem Aufwand umgebaut werden, wie es die Jakobshalle in Basel war. Die hatte ja sogar statisch Probleme, deswegen haben wir ja die 2 Säulen vorne gehabt. Das war ja auch statisch, damit die Decke hält. Und das ist in der Stadthalle nicht notwendig. Das Einzige, was man in der Stadthalle macht, wer schon öfter dort war, weiß, es ist unfassbar heiß da drin. Man baut jetzt eine Klimaanlage ein, aber das hätte man sowieso auch ohne Eurovision gemacht.
Das war ja schon länger geplant. Genau.
Also das ist keine, und wenn man das dann rechnet, wenn die Stadt Wien alleine beisteuern möchte, es kommt ja dann was von der EBU und es kommt ja noch was vom ORF, dann ist man noch immer unter Basel etwas, aber man ist bei einer realistischen möglichen Summe. Ja. Und Innsbruck hat mit 21 Millionen oder 22 Millionen all-inclusive gerechnet. Und Wien hat 80.000 Betten und 9.000 Betten hat Innsbruck. Ich meine, das ist die Wahrheit. Und deswegen war das nie ein Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen.
Ja, also ich glaube ja, dass auch die Kosten im ORF selbst natürlich eine Rolle spielten. Also du hast von Seiten des ORFs einfach sehr viele Menschen, die dann vor Ort sein müssen, also mehrere hundert, vermute ich jetzt einmal, die für den Ablauf der Show zuständig sind. Und die musst du alle nicht nur mit Betten versorgen, was du als ORF zahlen musst, sondern du musst ihnen ja auch dann Diäten zahlen, sprich Übernachtung, Essen, das muss alles dann vom Arbeitgeber übernommen werden, wenn sie außerhalb ihrer Heimatstadt eingesetzt werden. Das ist natürlich ein riesiger Kostenfaktor und das wird beim ORF auch eine Rolle gespielt haben. Das ist einfach Geld, was dann für die Show fehlt. Ja. Und das könnte ich mir denken, zusammen mit dem ganzen kulturellen Konzept, der natürlich irgendwie JJ, Wien, Oper, blablabla, Kultur, da haben wir schon drüber geredet.
Ich glaube, es gab noch ein Ding, das habe ich dann auch gelesen in mehreren Analysen und wenn meine Informationen stimmen, hat Innsbruck auch ein Problem nicht gelöst, das 2015 schon ein Problem war, nämlich dass der Green Room ganz weit weg von der Arena gewesen wäre und der Weg vom Green Room zur Halle sehr, sehr lange gewesen wäre. Und das heißt, war jetzt wieder so.
Von der Verkündung des Siegs zum Auftritt auf der Bühne, Werbepause. Das wäre gut gewesen für den ORF. Werbepause.
Ja, nein, aber es war zu weit weg. Das war 2015, habe ich das schon gehört und das war einfach ein Thema. Ich bleib dabei. Ich finde es schade, dass Graz sich nicht beworben hat. Ich finde Graz wäre für mich die ideale Eurovision-Stadt. Ja. Aber ich freue mich natürlich, ich muss ja, wie du mich erinnert hast am Anfang der Sendung, kein Hotel buchen.
Ja, aber du weißt, was wir auch das letzte Mal 2015 gesagt haben und was uns wahrscheinlich unsere Schweizer Zuhörerinnen auch bestätigen können. Wenn es denn in der eigenen Stadt stattfindet, es ist schwierig, den Alltag von diesem Event dann auch zu trennen. Also unser Leben läuft da eigentlich relativ normal weiter. Wir können uns nicht sagen, ja. Der Alltag, genau. Also die Interaktion mit unseren Partnern, Partnerinnen, den Müll runtertragen, die Wäsche waschen, ne? Alles das, was normalerweise
Aber
das
ich
haben wir
wurde nie so
natürlich-
oft gefragt, ob ich Karten organisieren könnte. Wie
Das kommt
dieses
dazu.
Mal.
Das kommt dazu.
Oder ob
aber
ich ein Bett frei hätte noch irgendwo. Ja. Also
Hast du?
für meine Familie. Also wahrscheinlich kommt meine Schwester, weil sie würde gerne mal diese Atmosphäre schnuppern
Oh,
und am
schön.
Rathausplatz gehen. Und meine Nichten, die waren das letzte Mal ja auch da beim Eurovision. Und wenn, dann wird es hier so ein Family-Ding. Und ja, das.
Das wird ganz großartig. Und
Genau.
ich freue mich schon auf unsere Host City-Episode, weil ich glaube, wir werden vielleicht Sachen beleuchten, die vielleicht nicht so bekannt sind. Ne?
Aber wir können mal unsere Geheimtipps loswerden. Ist ja auch mal schön, oder?
Ist auch
Ja,
schön, genau.
Aber eines bleibt, wir werden auch in Wien 2026 Song Contest Geschichten schreiben.
Merci, Chérie, die kleine Song Contest Geschichte am Schluss. Marco, hast du mir was mitgebracht?
Natürlich habe ich dir was mitgebracht, aber nichts Irisches. Irisches. Not Irish. Sondern eine Geschichte vom Song Contest 1996 in Oslo.
Aber Marco, wir waren 2010 dort.
Ja, aber ich
Gemeinsam.
bin 1996 dort. Ein reich gedeckter Tisch voller Geschichten am Schluss sind ja immer bekanntlich diese ganz vielen Plagiatsvorwürfen, die es immer so gibt, oder?
Ja, das stimmt.
Ja. Welche berühmteste Plagiatsvorwurf fällt dir gerade so ein?
Ach, bitte frag mich doch nicht solche Sachen unvorbereitet, Marco, bitte.
Ich frage dich immer am Geschichte am Schluss unvorbereitet. Ich bin gnadenlos. Ich hätte jetzt erwartet, du sagst netter Toy, aber ja. Weil ich glaube, netter und Toy ist, glaube ich, die
Ja, das
berühmteste
ist der
Plagiatsvorwurf.
bekannteste, genau.
Aber auch 1996 wurde die Basis gelegt. Was ist passiert? Auch Belgien war beim Eurovision Song Contest 1996. Die Sängerin hieß Lisa Delbo. Und das Lied, kannst du dich erinnern?
Nein, gar
The
nicht.
Liefde is een kaartspel. Die Liebe ist ein Kartenspiel, hieß der Song. Geschrieben wurde der Song von John Terra, Sirek Brochten und Text von Daniel Dietmar. Er landet allerdings nur auf dem 16. Platz mit nur 22 Punkten. Damit wäre der Song wohl dann irgendwie so eine Randnotiz geblieben der Eurovision-Geschichte. Und man kann sich auch noch schwer vorstellen, dass der Song wie dieser irgendwie Vorbild für einen anderen Song-Contest-Song gewesen wäre, oder?
Oh. Ich hätte jetzt erwartet, dass es andersrum ist. Dass der eine Plagiat gewesen ist.
Nein, ich hatte gesagt, 1996 wurde die Basis gelegt. Ja. Thomas Gison. Thomas Gison aus Schweden hatte diesen Song wohl nicht ganz vergessen. Vielleicht war es aber auch nur in seinem Unterbewusstsein. Was weiß man denn schon? Ja. Und das, obwohl Schweden dem Song Liefde is ein Kaartspel von der Belgierin 0 Punkte gegeben hat, 1996.
Thomas war nicht in der Jury, ganz einfach.
Er war nicht so. Im Jahr 2001 erschütterte nämlich ein kleiner Skandal die schwedische Vorentscheidung Melodiefestivalen. Und der Fall sollte noch einige Jahre weiter fortgeschrieben werden. Es gab da eine Band, die hieß Friends. Und die hatte mit dem Song Lyssna till ditt hjärt gewonnen, den Melodiefestivalen gewonnen. Und sollte Schweden beim Eurovision Song Contest vertreten. Doch schon kurz nach dem Sieg wurde dem der Vorwurf laut: Das Lied klingt ja total gleich wie Liefde is ein Kaartspel, der belgische Beitrag 1996. Also die Diskussionen in Schweden, die kochten wahnsinnig hoch. Es gab Abstimmungen in Aftonbladet, wo die Zuschauer, die Leser und Leserinnen und online abstimmen durften. Ja, das ist ein Plagiat. Nein, es ist kein Plagiat. Es ging übrigens 70% pro Plagiat aus. Es gab Radiosendungen. Es war überall ein Dauerthema. Socials war ja noch nicht so populär 2001, aber Online-Seiten und so und Foren, die gab es ja schon. Und sogar Lisa Delbo, die belgische Sängerin, wurde dann von den schwedischen Journalisten gefragt. Und ihr Urteil übrigens, der Song ist schon sehr ähnlich. Ja, aber ob es wirklich Absicht war, das weiß ich nicht. Also
Och,
so
das ist nett
diplomatisch.
gesagt.
Genau. Die EBU schaltete sich dann natürlich auch ein, weil der Song sollte ja jetzt da gespielt werden in 2001. Und ihr Beschluss war dann, der Fall muss halt leider vor Gericht geklärt werden. Aber du weißt, es gilt immer vor einem Urteil die Unschuldsvermutung, die berühmte. Ja. Also solange nichts bewiesen ist, darf Schweden mit dem Lied antreten. Ja, und so stand Friends 2001 auf der Bühne in Kopenhagen, bei diesem riesigen Stadion Song Contest, und sang den Song übrigens dann auf Englisch Listen to Your Heartbeat von Friends. Der Song wurde Sechster. Belgien gab dem Song 0 Punkte. allerdings nicht, weil sie das bewusst gemacht hätten, sondern Belgien hat gar nicht teilgenommen, so wie Österreich auch nicht. Es war ja damals noch ohne Halbfinals und die schlechter Platzierten des Vorjahres durften da nicht teilnehmen und auch Belgien musste 2001 ein Jahr aussetzen. Doch die Geschichte ist eben nicht beendet. 2003 entschied dann der belgische Musikverband SABAM, dass es sich um ein Plagiat handelt und ist dann wirklich nochmal aktiv geworden, und zwar auch rechtlich. Die Komponisten Thomas Gisson und Hendrik Setson haben das abgestritten, aber bevor es dann zu einem Prozess gekommen ist, sind sie eingeknickt, wenn man ehrlich ist, und sie haben einen finanziellen Vergleich.
Nennt man das.
Naja, die haben zahlt dafür. Ja. Ja, die haben einen finanziellen Vergleich gemacht, und siehe da, in den Credits findet man jetzt auch belgische Namen bei Listen to Your Heartbeat von Friends. Und
naja, solange da nicht Jack White steht.
Aber somit ging auch dieser Fall in die ESC-Geschichte ein.
Glücklicherweise hat Thomas Gisson nicht aufgegeben, sonst hätten wir nie auf Euphoria gehört.
Ja, genau.
Ja. Ach, das ist eine schöne Geschichte.
Gerne, Alkis. Und wir freuen uns auf euch alle am 4. Oktober in Wien und dann nächstes Jahr im Mai, ne?
Ja, da solltet ihr alle unbedingt hier in Wien sein, weil ich freue mich wirklich auf euch.
Genau. Und bis dahin sagen wir Merci, Chérie.
Missing Link